Welcome to the City of Springfield's overview of Land Use Planning Basics, what planning in Oregon means for planning in Springfield. The state of Oregon has a planning framework for its cities and counties that dictates the structure and realization of land use in these areas. Today we'll be discussing Oregon's statewide planning goals, the overarching local policy documents that frame specific land use planning in Springfield, and the implementing tools that ultimately guide development projects and activities, and how all of these play into how Springfield functions today, specifically in terms of its built and natural environments, which affects what we experience day to day as we go about our lives. In 1973, the state of Oregon passed Senate Bill 100, establishing a unique statewide planning framework. This legislation created the Land Conservation and Development Commission, LCDC, an appointed commission that adopts state land use goals, assures local plan compliance with the goals, and coordinates state and local planning. It created Department of Land Conservation and Development, DLCD. DLCD is a relatively small state agency that functionally staffs the Land Conservation and Development Commission and work in partnership with the public, local governments, and state and federal agencies to address the land use needs of the public, communities, regions, and the state. It created statewide planning goals and required cities and counties to adopt comprehensive land use plans and regulations. Oregon's 19 statewide land use planning goals are the foundation for planning in Oregon. The goals express the state's policies on land use and related topics, like engaging with communities, housing, transportation, and natural resources. Not all goals will apply to every geography within the state. Although most statewide planning goals relate directly to the city of Springfield, several do not, including those related to farming and forest lands, and those directly related to ocean resources. As Springfield continues to create its own elements of its comprehensive plan, the Comprehensive Plan Map Clarification Project that began in late 2021 focuses on Goals 2, Land Use Planning, and 10, Housing. Most goals are accompanied by guidelines, which are suggestions about how a place can achieve a goal. In addition to these guidelines, many goals also have adopted rules that detail what local governments must do in their work to achieve these goals. Ultimately, Oregon's statewide planning goals are achieved through local comprehensive planning. State law requires each city and county to adopt a comprehensive plan and the implementing ordinances needed to put the plan into effect. Local comprehensive plans must be consistent with the statewide planning goals. Plans are reviewed for such consistency by the state's Land Conservation and Development Commission. When LCDC officially approves a local government's plan, the plan is said to be acknowledged. It then becomes the controlling document for land use in the area covered by that plan. There are many resources available to learn about Oregon's planning history and current practices. Please feel free to reach out to the city planning staff if you are interested in knowing more. The charge for local communities in Oregon, in response to the state's governing statewide planning goals, is to begin planning for land use with a comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan addresses local conditions and priorities, organizes them into chapters or elements by each statewide planning goal. For example, comprehensive plans describe where the city may grow in the future and how it can do so in a way that protects rural farm and forest land and other natural resources. They talk about transportation and other types of infrastructure and more. Visions, goals, actionable policies, and measurable strategies of these plans commonly look forward for a 20-year period based around meeting the needs of their current and future populations. The plan has two fundamental parts, a map and text that ultimately describes the map. The map depicts land use designations, often referred to as plan designations. This would include designations such as residential, employment, and resource lands that appear as different colors on the map. The text component of the comprehensive plan correlates the plan map with policy statements and goals. While these plans are based on existing conditions, their focus is to speak to how we use our land, where those uses should be located, and activities related to achieving those desired outcomes going forward. These plans are guided by goals and policies that reflect the community's unique vision, respond to current needs and conditions, and provide guidance for implementing and amending the plan. The plan is implemented through ordinances, zoning, codes, or other regulations. It is crucial to note that it is ultimately the comprehensive plan that has the force of law and is the guiding land use document for each local jurisdiction. The Development Code is the most important tool in day-to-day planning efforts. It is the primary implementation tool for the comprehensive plan. It is used in conjunction with the zoning map. Elements of a development code include land use districts, also known frequently as zoning districts. These are areas designated consistently with the comprehensive plan map, but often with additional nuance and detail. Uses. These describe what land uses may occur in each land use district and whether they are permitted outright and can go straight to construction review or are subject to approval criteria in a land use planning application, sometimes including discretionary criteria. Development standards. These outline requirements such as minimum lot sizes, yard setbacks, height requirements within land use districts. Other types of standards such as natural resource protection, off-street parking, and landscaping requirements are also typical development standards. A common question in Oregon land use planning is, why do we have both a comprehensive plan map and a zoning map? And what is the difference in relationship between the plan designations of the comprehensive plan map and the land use districts or zones presented in a zoning map? Here's a summary of some key distinctions. A key theme of the distinctions is that the zoning map is subordinate to the comprehensive plan map, because the comprehensive plan map is the controlling, policy-level instrument directing the future of land use in the jurisdiction. Zoning is more detailed in its technical focus, while comprehensive plans are more vision-based and aspirational. The zoning map cannot allow a more intensive land use than is shown on the comprehensive plan map for the same area. But zoning is often more specifically worded to guide users of the development code to the site design detail. An example of a comprehensive plan designation being consistent with the zoning classification, but with slightly different wording, would be a property that has a commercial plan designation, but is within a neighborhood commercial zone. Development codes address a community's needs for a range of property types, land use, and design to bring the planned vision to reality at the site or property level. Development codes also need to be maintained and to adapt to adjustments to the community's vision going forward. Codes outline land use and permit review processes that range from highly discretionary decisions, such as adjustments to the community's vision and policies or to the plan map, to highly objective decisions, like a permit review to simply confirm the height of a sign or how far a building is from the sidewalk or another building. Touching on local comprehensive plans mentioned earlier, many Oregon communities have what we would refer to as a comprehensive planning framework, which can include several independent plans, sometimes referred to as functional plans or refinement plans. Depending on a community's size, it may have several more focused plans that outline policies for specific geographies or topic areas like transportation, natural resources, or infrastructure within their urban growth boundary. The following three plans are key parts of Springfield's comprehensive planning framework: the Eugene-Springfield Metropolitan Area General Plan, the Springfield Comprehensive Plan, and its neighborhood refinement plans. The Eugene-Springfield Metro Area General Plan, commonly referred to as the Metro Plan, was adopted in 1980 and represented a culmination of decades of planning for development in the Eugene-Springfield region. For many years, the Metro Plan served as the sole official long-range comprehensive plan for the metropolitan Lane County and the cities of Eugene and Springfield. The Metro Plan's aim was to align the state's emphasis on taking a big-picture look at how to wisely use urban land for development, while also protecting farm and forest land. As such, the Metro Plan's policies sought to identify and reserve an amount of land that could be one day developed into urban uses within the shared metropolitan boundary to accommodate future population. About 15 years ago, the Oregon legislature passed a law that required Eugene and Oregon to establish separate urban growth boundaries, and other requirements that initiated Springfield and Eugene's pursuit of independent comprehensive planning. Springfield continues its transition from relying solely on the regional metro plan to completing a city-specific comprehensive plan with Springfield-specific goals and policies for certain plan elements which function like chapters. Importantly, this also includes developing a property-specific comprehensive plan map for all of Springfield, one in a series of discrete projects aimed at completing this transition. The City of Springfield holds the philosophy for its planning work that where we live, where we work, how we move, and get to these places matters. The Springfield Comprehensive Plan seeks to ensure that these experiences are the best they can be for those who live in, work in, or visit Springfield today and for years to come. Though this plan is a state-required plan, it serves as a basis for what Springfield wants to see and accomplish someday, with a focus on economic development, residential land use and housing, recreation, transportation, and urbanization. Many of these existing elements seek to meet the needs of Springfield's current and future population for a time frame of 20 years. The first new element for Springfield's own comprehensive plan came from Ordinance 6268 in 2011, which is now the residential land and housing element. This element's intent is to meet statewide Planning Goal 10, which focuses on the need to provide an adequate supply of housing for various types of people with a variety of incomes. An important distinction about this element is that it is a supplement to and expands upon the residential land use and housing element of the Metro Plan, meaning it supports and complements the Metro Plan instead of replacing it. While the Metro Plan's regional housing goals and policies still apply to Springfield, the fact-based statements in the Metro Plan residential land use and housing no longer apply. The Metro Plan will continue to include some of the regional land use planning that is collaboratively addressed by Lane County, Eugene, and Springfield. It will also refer its readers to other jointly adopted plans and Springfield and Eugene's city-specific comprehensive land use planning documents. Any future changes to the Metro Plan will continue to involve Lane County working with Springfield or Eugene. They will sometimes involve all three cities and can involve projects for special districts who focus on special topics, such as the Public Facilities and Services Plan, which focuses on sewer and water and aligns with Oregon's statewide Planning Goal 11. In 2016, Ordinance 6361 adopted two more elements to address statewide Planning Goal 14, Urbanization, and Goal 9, Economic Development. The comprehensive plan's urbanization element relates to how and where the Springfield area grows within Springfield's urban growth boundary, and the state approved it in 2019. Its economic element that identifies goals, policies, and strategies to meet the needs for employment growth within the city, including the need for additional land. Unlike housing, these elements replace and supersede the findings, goals, and policies in the Metro Plan. Additional elements for Springfield's own comprehensive plan will be created in separate steps over time. For example, the Comprehensive Plan Map Clarification Project is the first step in creating a new element or chapter, which will become the land use element. Another key part of Springfield's comprehensive planning framework is Springfield's 7 adopted neighborhood refinement plans. This map represents several of those neighborhood plan areas. The 7 neighborhood plans are for Gateway, Glenwood, Q Street, East Kelly Butte, Downtown, Mid-Springfield, and East Main. Springfield's neighborhood refinement plans address specific needs identified by residents and businesses of a specific area. They seek to make sure each neighborhood is celebrated for its unique qualities. This all must be done so within the framework of the Springfield Comprehensive Plan. These plans often list priorities such as park improvements, more development of a certain type, to keep certain areas preserved and avoid redevelopment, for example, historic districts, or better traffic circulation in an area. Some plans discuss design. For example, Springfield's downtown and Glenwood refinement plans emphasize the importance of streetscape design, parking, street trees, pedestrian, and bicycle circulation, as well as lighting and how different types of uses could work well together in a relatively small area. Springfield's first refinement plans were adopted in the 1980s. With so much that can change over time and so much that has happened since, Springfield has recognized opportunities to update pieces of text like a policy statement, or to update the diagram or map on a property-specific basis. Refinement plans can also be changed to reimagine things in a bigger way. Glenwood is an example of an area where the plan was amended on a large scale for multiple properties along the Willamette River, and was largely wrapped up in 2014. In this presentation, we've covered how Oregon's statewide planning framework of goals and broader rules generally guide local policy, plans, and decisions, down to the neighborhood and even the site-specific permit level. While Springfield is guided by a number of complex planning documents, these ultimately serve as practical resources for realizing everyday benefits in our lives, such as street infrastructure like sidewalks and smooth travel lanes and bike paths, clean water, parks, and other places to enjoy and to live. Some of these changes happen quickly and all at once, but often can happen on smaller scales in ways that are not widely recognized and can take years before we see results. City of Springfield pursues comprehensive planning in a way that seeks to coordinate and relate separate topics to one another so it can create a holistic, healthy, and efficient community within the urban growth boundary that Springfield calls home. To learn more about Springfield's comprehensive planning resources, you can visit these web pages, including the web page dedicated to the current effort at clarifying Springfield's comprehensive plan map as the first step toward creating the land use piece of its comprehensive plan. There are also other ways for the community to participate in comprehensive planning in Springfield, including staying up to date on the latest happenings of Springfield's active boards, commissions, and committees. There are many levels of involvement you could have with these groups. You can track their latest agendas and priorities by reviewing materials online. You can attend any of their open meetings, or you could consider applying for any open position to serve on one of these groups. Most recruitments for open positions start in September each year. There will be multiple vacancies for the Planning Commission in 2022 and 2023, so be sure to check back on both of these web pages for announcements and contact information if you would like to connect with city staff in the meantime. Thank you for your time joining to listen. If you have questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to Monica Sather, one of the planners on the City of Springfield's planning team.